Welcome, everybody. Welcome to No Offseason Media. I'm your host, Amari Sports, and welcome to my Week 4 picks. So before I get started, don't forget to smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and also click notification bell wherever it may be, and hit that. It'll notify you whenever I post a new video. But anyways, let's get it started. Miami Dolphins at the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati is favored by 3.5. I like Cincinnati to win this game and Cincinnati to cover. I don't know what's going on with Tua Tagovailoa. He should have been injured last week against Buffalo. Some going on concerns about this concussion issue that the NFL is investigating. So potentially he could or could not play. But I like Cincinnati, how the way they bounce back against the New York Jets. I understand it's the Jets, but also with Cincinnati is that their offensive line is actually come back into form now. We saw that against the Jets last week in the Meadowlands, where they only sacked Joe Burrow only twice. And keep in mind that the Jets don't really get to the quarterback as much. So I really like the Cincinnati Bengals to come back home wearing the white unis with the white helmets and play in front of their home crowd. Cincinnati wins 24-20 over Miami. Our first London game of the year, we have the Minnesota Vikings against the New Orleans Saints. And the Minnesota Vikings are favored by 3 points. And I'm going to take Minnesota to win this game and to cover against the New Orleans Saints. Number one, Jameis is probably going to be out for this game. But this is my reason why I like the Vikings so much. They came back against the Detroit Lions, so they're showing some fight, even being down by Detroit. And that's normally what Detroit does. But going back to the Vikings side, they were able to hold the Lions down to the end. And I think that defense will carry them over to London. This is not a primetime game, so I don't have to worry about Kirk Cousins like failing to cover the spread or anything like that, because this is like a 9:30 Eastern time. When he's like Sunday night and these Monday night games, that's what he plays awful. But the last time Kirk Cousins was in London or any type of these international games, he tied with the Bengals back in 2016. But I really like the Vikings here. The Saints came out flat last week. I don't think that they're going to do the exact same thing here, but I like the Vikings in the roster over New Orleans, and I don't like Jameis with his defensive head coach that he has in Dennis Allen. So I like the Minnesota Vikings to win this game and to cover that 3-point spread. Minnesota wins 28-21 over the Saints. The Cleveland Browns and the Atlanta Falcons. The Cleveland Browns are favored by 1.5 points, and I'm going to take the Falcons to upset the Cleveland Browns and pretty much run away with it on the money line. Number one is that the Falcons are coming off one of their biggest performances ever against Seattle in the past 9 months, clockwise. But also number two is that the Cleveland Browns are coming off a long-term rest, and Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney will not be here for this game. Myles Garrett because he got into a car crash, and also Jadeveon Clowney because of injury. But I like the Falcons here. Cordero Patterson will try to manage this game by running the football and eating up the clock. And I think Marcus Mariota will do the best he can to manage from the quarterback position and not try to turn the ball over so much like he has done in recent weeks. And the Atlanta Falcons, they have been losing games by close and winning games very closely. So I like the Falcons. Falcons are the play here. I like the Falcons to win this game and to upset the Cleveland Browns. Falcons win 22-20. The Washington Commanders at the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys is favored by 3.5, and I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys to win and to cover. A lot of people are taking the Commanders to upset the Cowboys. I'm not ready to go on that boat yet because I've seen that Cooper Rush has been playing consistently and have been winning games, whether that's against Minnesota or that was against the Giants or the Cincinnati Bengals. Cooper Rush has been winning ball games, and Dak Prescott could potentially be coming back the next week after this game, which is against the Rams. But following on this game is that Washington Commanders defense is completely awful. Philadelphia scored 24 points on them. Detroit scored 36 points on them. And also they almost let the Jags come back into the game and also beat them. So I really like the Cowboys in this spot. Cooper Rush can manage the football the same way that Dak Prescott does when he's under center. And I think that the Cowboys defense is what carries the offense and the whole entire team in this ball game. So I really like Dallas's defense to manhandle the Commanders' offense, and the offense for the Dallas Cowboys can manage the game against the defense of the Washington Commanders. So I really like the Dallas Cowboys to win this football game and to cover 22-16 over Washington. The Seattle Seahawks at the Detroit Lions. Detroit is favored by 4.5. I like Detroit to win this game and Detroit to cover. Number one, Jared Goff in his career is good against Seattle defensively. He has always had career numbers against Seattle, so that's number one. Number two is that you don't bet on Geno Smith. Whether if it's a straight up pick or it's even just coming from picking the spread, you don't bet on Geno Smith unless it's week 1 against the Denver Broncos. But I digress. The Lions can win between like the 10 to 15 point range over Seattle, which inevitably lets them cover the spread. So I really like Detroit over Seattle. Seattle's defense is bad. We have seen Seattle be putrid. I think this is a good spot for the Lions. TJ Hawkinson, Amon-Ra St. Brown can score a touchdown, or even just Jamal Williams, who is coming in, filling in for DeAndre Swift. I think he can get a touchdown this game. But give me the Detroit Lions to beat the Seattle Seahawks. Detroit wins 35-20. The Tennessee Titans at the Indianapolis Colts. Vegas has Indianapolis favored by 3.5, and I'm going to take the Titans to upset and defeat the Indianapolis Colts. First of all, since Andrew Luck has retired, the Titans have always had the Colts number. And number 2 is that I don't know what I'm getting from this Matt Ryan offense. Last week, he kept giving the game away back to Kansas City, and Kansas City kept shooting themselves in the foot. I think the Tennessee Titans win this game outright, and I think that until the Colts realize they can stop Derrick Henry, which they haven't done, they cannot defeat him, and he's come back into his own in that last game against the Raiders. I'm going to take the Tennessee Titans to win 23-20 and upset Indy. The Chicago Bears at the New York Giants. Chicago is a 3.5 point underdog to New York. I'm going to take New York to win this game, but fail to cover. Number 1 is that I don't know what I'm getting offensively from both these teams. Defensively, I think this is what's going to drive both these teams into getting a win. Daniel Jones, called as it is, he's not the franchise quarterback for the New York Giants. These are 2 quarterbacks, both young. One is coming into his potentially getting a deal later on by another team, and that's Justin Fields, who is coming into his own in the second year. I just really like the Giants to win this game, but I don't think they're going to beat them by a 3.5. I don't think it's going to happen. The hook is where it gets me, and that's where I'm going to take the Chicago Bears. This game, probably nobody is going to probably watch this game unless you're in the Chicago metro area or either in East Rutherford, New Jersey, or even in the New York area. So I really like the Giants to win this game, but I like the Bears to cover. Giants win 19-16 over the Bears. The Jacksonville Jaguars at the Philadelphia Eagles. Jacksonville is a 6.5 point underdog against Philadelphia. I like the Eagles to still win this game, but I like the Jags to cover. Number 1 is that the Jags have very good defense when it comes to rushing the ball, and the Philadelphia Eagles have a top 7 rushing offense. This is going to rely on Jalen Hurts to keep pushing the ball down the field because Jacksonville can match up on that. And do I really trust Jalen Hurts to do that? We have seen that in some spots, whether that was against the Detroit Lions with their putrid defense or Minnesota Vikings with that defense. We have seen Jalen Hurts step up to the plate when it comes to getting the ball down to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. But against Jacksonville, who was flying high after beating the Chargers down in SoFi, I think 6.5 points is way too much, and I think that everybody's going to keep betting Philadelphia, and I'm going to go against the public and just go take Jacksonville. But I still like Philadelphia to win this. I expect them to go to 4-0 this year, and this is the time where they'll do it. I don't see this as a letdown spot. It could be a letdown spot, but I just like Jacksonville and the points way too much. So give me the Philadelphia Eagles to defeat the Jacksonville Jaguars 27-26. Philadelphia fails to cover the spread. We have the New York Jets at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh is favored by 3.5 over New York. I like the Steelers to win this game and the Steelers to cover. Mitchell Trubisky, say it as it is, he's very limited, but he doesn't turn over the ball too much. And the thing about the Jets is that they have a shutdown corner in Sauce Gardner, who's going to probably be matched up on Deontay Johnson. You still have Chase Claypool. You still have George Pickens, the guy, the receiver you drafted in the second round. But here's my thing. Despite the Steelers having one of the worst offensive lines ever this year, the Jets can't get sacks on quarterbacks. And that's going to require Mr. Trubisky to run around the pocket and throw it, which will generate more time for his receivers to get open against the corners of the Jets. So I like Pittsburgh here, despite having TJ Watt out and going 0-6 defensively. But I think this is a part where they get their first win without TJ Watt in the lineup. Zach Wilson's coming back. Will he be rusty? My guess is yes. And that is another reason why I like the Steelers. So give me Pittsburgh to defeat the New York Jets. Steelers win 24-13 over New York. We have the Buffalo Bills at the Baltimore Ravens. Buffalo is a 3.5 point favorite. at Baltimore. I'm going to take the Bills to win this game and the Bills to cover. First of all, the Baltimore Ravens just allowed 26 points defensively to the New England Patriots. And we think the New England Patriots offense is bad. All right. Number 2, Buffalo should have won that game down in Miami. Everybody was throwing up. People were exhausted. People needed IVs. It was very hot down there in Miami. The Buffalo Bills will be ready for this game in Baltimore. Now they're going up against an MVP caliber quarterback in Lamar Jackson. Now, I still like Buffalo in this game, despite having defensive issues, because Buffalo is good against the run. And Baltimore, they love to run the football with Lamar, J.K. Dobbins, Justice Hill, whoever it may be at the running back backfield. So I really like the Buffalo Bills to go out and win this game. Josh Allen will have a get-right game, and this is the get-right game with the poor defense of the Baltimore Ravens. Give me the Buffalo Bills to defeat the Ravens 30-23. Los Angeles Chargers at the Houston Texans. Houston is a 4.5-point underdog against Los Angeles Chargers. I like the Chargers to win this game, but I think Houston will cover the spread. Joey Bosa will be out, and he has been placed on IR, so he will be out potentially for 4 weeks. But I really like the Chargers to win this game solely because of Justin Herbert. We'll see how the rib cartilage fracture goes for Justin Herbert, but he looked anemic last week. I think this is his get back spot. So I like the Chargers to win this game, but fail to cover. Chargers win 20-16 over Houston. Arizona Cardinals at the Carolina Panthers. Cardinals are 2-point underdogs against the Carolina Panthers. I'm just going to hammer it right now. Cardinals win and Cardinals upset the Carolina Panthers. Last week, the Saints did not show up against that game against Carolina. And also, the Cardinals, dating back to last year, they're 6-1 as road underdogs. Okay, so I really like the Cardinals. Last time they were on the road, they beat the Raiders in overtime. They were a 5.5-point underdog, and they found a way to cover the spread. That's the reason why I like the Cardinals in here. I like the Arizona Cardinals to win 26-22 over Carolina. The New England Patriots at the Green Bay Packers. New England is a 10.5-point underdog against the Packers. I have the Packers win this game, but I have them failing to cover against New England. Number 1, none of these wide receivers for Green Bay scare the Patriots. So that leaves Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, Sammy Watkins, young receivers, and a veteran receiver. Aaron Rodgers is struggling to pass the ball down the field to even these receivers. Allen Lazard will be there, which is the number 1 go-to guy, but he's not scaring anybody on paper. With the Green Bay Packers, their defense is what's going to have to carry them in this game. But luckily, they have to go against Brian Hoyer and the Patriots offense, who have looked anemic, whether it was against Miami or was against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I like New England Patriots to cover this solely because of Belichick and running the ball, which the Packers are not good against. And that's what will keep the game closer by putting the ball out of Brian Hoyer's hands. Give me the Green Bay Packers to win 27-17 over the Patriots, but failing to cover. Denver Broncos at the Las Vegas Raiders. Las Vegas is a 2.5-point favorite against Denver. I'm just going to hammer it right now. Take the Raiders to win this game and get their first win of the season. Number 1, Denver can't score offensively. Okay, great. Russell Wilson had a game-winning drive against the 49ers defense. But this team only still scored 11, which is their season low. They scored 16, 16, and 11 points. The Raiders are looking feistier after that whole meeting that Josh McDaniels had with the owner, Mark Davis. The Broncos haven't beaten the Raiders on the road since 2015 with Peyton Manning. And back then, they only won that game by 6 points. I like the Raiders. I'm hammering the Raiders. Everybody jump on the ship with me. Take the Raiders to win this game and to cover. Raiders win 24-16 over Denver. Kansas City Chiefs at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Chiefs are favored by 2 points. I'm going to take the Chiefs to win this game and the Chiefs to cover. This game could potentially not be in Tampa. It could be in Minnesota. But despite all that, I still like Kansas City. The Buccaneers defense got a whole bunch of sacks. I understand that. but the offense is what I worry about in this game. Mike Evans was out, Chris Godwin was out, Julio Jones was out, which left them with Cole Beasley, Scotty Miller, and some backup receivers. They weren't able to move the chains until later on in the game. And this is what I worry about with Tampa. Tampa's good defensively, but offensively, they can't move anything. And that's what happened. The whole entire Tampa Bay squad reminds me of the 2019 Patriots team. That Patriots team that had a good defense, like first-ranked defense or second-ranked defense, I think it was, with the defensive player of the year in Stephon Gilmore, or in this case, a good front seven and valuable corners, but New England couldn't move the chains, and same thing with Tampa, can't even move the chains. So I like Kansas City here. Kansas City came on one of the worst losses that they ever had. They should have won that game. Special teams is what did them in against the Indianapolis Colts. I like KC, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid offensively to bounce back and defeat Tampa. Kansas City wins and defeats Brady's Bucks 27-24. And last but not least, we have the Los Angeles Rams at the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco is a 2-point favorite against the Rams. The public is all taking the Rams at a point. I'm taking the 49ers to win this game and the 49ers to cover. Number one, San Francisco, since 2019, is 6-1 against the Rams. The only one loss is the NFC Championship. Number two, Jimmy Garoppolo cost the game against the Denver Broncos. He will bounce back. George Kittle's in this game. He will bounce back. The running backs in this game, as I said, will bounce back. The Rams' offensive line is what I worry about. They can't handle Nick Bosa. They can't handle Eric Armstead. They can't handle Javon Kinlaw. They can't handle any of those guys. Fred Warner is going to make a game for this one because he's the leader of that defense. But the corners, keep an eye on this. The corners is what's going to match up against Cooper Kupp and Ben Skoranek or whoever is going to be at wide receiver. The 49ers have one of the best defenses in the league. And against the Rams, who have always struggled, always take the 49ers. I like San Francisco to win this game and to cover. So I like the San Francisco 49ers in this matchup against the Rams. San Francisco wins and covers 20-17 and hold the Rams to potentially the second season low. But anyways, thank you for listening to No Offseason Media. I'm your host, Amari Sports. Don't forget to smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click notification bell wherever it may be. But anyways, I'll see y'all later. See you later, sports fans. Peace. Hey, I know you see that subscribe button, and I know you see that notification bell. Why don't you just click it? Go ahead. And if you want to tune into more videos, just go ahead and look at this new video that I just posted right here, or go see some of my playlists on this channel.